What's up guys, welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding, and today is going to be a back workout, and in my opinion the back can never be good enough. So what I'm recently starting to do is practice more pull-ups, all kinds of different pull-ups at the start of a back workout, and I have to say, of course, my body weight of around 120 kilograms is kind of difficult to do a pull-up with right from the bat without a warm-up. So what I do is I use a pull-up machine, an assisting machine. You can either use a machine that assists you with a number of kilograms that pushes you upwards, or a resistant band, but I prefer this machine because it really, keeps the same tension from top to bottom, and that allows you to do the pull-up as if you were weighing less. So for example, here, if I weigh 120 and I'm adding 40 kilograms to the stack, that helps me. I'm only weighing effectively 80 kilograms. That's only the weight I have to pull up. So first I'm starting out with some close grip pull-ups, and honestly I already did the wide grip pull-ups before this, but then I decided why not record this and show everyone at Vintage Genetics what a back workout looks like right now. So the pull-ups, really, if you go lighter than your body weight, you can go much higher. You can see the contraction in the back, the middle back, and the traps, and the stretch of the lats at the bottom really work with the pull-ups. And the pull-up is very different from a lat pull-down, at least a regular lat pull-down in my opinion. It's the same movement, but it simply feels very different because you can move your body in different angles and allows you to contract and stretch the body, the back, even more. Now here I'm doing some close grip pull-downs, and the close grip pull-downs, trust me guys, is amazing for the lower lats. For both for the lower lats, but also for the lower back in general, to really get some thickness there, to really get some pumpness going on in there, get some blood flowing in there. Trust me. If you look at what I'm doing right here, it kind of looks like a hybrid between a regular lat pull down with regular width and pullover machine, like a pullover, cable pullover. So when you do a cable pullover, you really work the lower back and the lower lats exclusively, and when you go upwards you stretch the lats. But here, you, instead of making it an isolation movement, you're making it a compound movement by letting your arms work as well, allowing you to pull more weight, stretch the back under a higher load, and contract it even harder as well. So initially I only wanted to do 4 sets, but if set number 4 still goes easy, I can still do at least 10 reps. I will do another set and hit set number 5. So this is going to be the last and heaviest set of these close grip pull downs, and as you can see, I'm trying to go all the way down so the bar really hits my rib cage basically, and when you get that low you really feel the lower back contracting, but as my reps progress you can see that I'm not able to pull it all the way to my body, and when I'm not able to do that anymore, the set simply ends. And this, the exercise I'm about to do, is basically just a T-bar row, but then on this belt squat machine. The benefit of this is that I have an unlimited range of motion. I can go all the way down without having to worry about the plates hitting the floor, and I can go all the way up. And especially going all the way up is a big difference compared to a regular T-bar row with a barbell and plates, because usually the plates are in the way, they interfere with the range of motion and they interfere with the maximum contraction. So usually you can overload on the T-bar row and really feel the back stretch, but you cannot really get a full contraction. Here you can go pretty heavy as well, but as you can see I can go all the way up until my lower abs and then really contract the lower back, which is what this exercise is for. Really work that back thickness. And usually during the last set of a back exercise I like to go and wear my weightlifting belt, available on the website vintagegenetics.com. It really helps keep my core stable, keeping my back straight instead of at the bottom, maybe rounding a little bit when it's getting too heavy, but it really protects the lower back from all the load that you want to put on the muscles in the lower back and not on the spine. Okay, so this next exercise is really comparable to a chest supported row on the hammer strength machine, for example, the plate loaded one. But since we don't have that in this gym, there is still an option to do the exact same movement using a rope and a cable and a bench. You do need a nice and heavy bench that won't move like this one. The Barbarian line bench really can support a lot of weight, but it's a nice sturdy bench, so it won't move when you do this exercise. This is really great for the lower back and also the upper back thickness. As you can see, pretty much a wholesome back thickness exercise, and you can really see that I get a very good contraction here. By using the rope, I can go all the way back until the contraction is fully reached and then stretch all the way out. But the back support allows me to the chest support allows me to drive my chest into the bench and then really drive my arms backwards using the bench as a support. If it wasn't for this support, it would put a lot more strain on the lower back and you would need to focus on different things apart from just the contraction. So if your hammer strength machine in your gym is occupied and you're able to use this setup right here, definitely do so, because this feels pretty amazing for the back. You really can get a very good concentration and focus on that contraction, as you can see right here, to the max. Here I'm doing another back thickness exercise. Remember, we did start out with one exercise, well basically two exercises for the back width mostly, but also the thickness a little bit in the pull-ups. But now, since the back thickness can never be thick enough, I'm doing another back thickness exercise using a free weight, using these two dumbbells, again using the bench for the chest support. You can do individual dumbbell rows, but in my opinion, it's very hard to get the full contraction using a very heavy weight without having a chest support like this for the back. On occasion I do like to do the dumbbell rows, but it's more of an unstable movement compared to this one, where you can really focus on contracting that back thickness right here. You can see that I'm going all the way down and then try to go all the way up as much as I can, but eventually the back will tire out. And exactly in the case when the back is starting to get tired, you simply use the same weight and try to beat the reps you did, or at least do the same amount of reps, but really focus on form, guys. I used to train for many years with heavy weights for the back, and my back width grew because a lot of stretch occurred. But the contraction part, which is the most difficult part, really driving the elbows backwards, didn't really happen. So what I'm doing now is really focusing on the form. If I can't go all the way back, I simply will not increase the weight, because if you do, only the stretch portion of the movement will be done, and the contraction portion, which causes back thickness, won't be achieved. So definitely make sure to hit a weight that you can do full range of motion with. And 3 times in a row, didn't even realize it, but I'm using the bench once more for this bicep exercise. The nice thing here is that I'm really focusing on the contraction and not as much on the stretch part. If you look closely, when I let the bar drop down slowly, you can see that the tension on the biceps is starting to disappear, and before it disappears completely, I go back up again to keep the tension on the biceps. So this basically is a very good exercise to get some bicep peaks going on, some bicep thickness, as I'm holding this bar very close gripped. That targets the outer head of the biceps, which creates that bicep peak. And right here I'm not using an easy curl bar, but a regular barbell, not the Olympic one, but one that weighs 15 kilograms. It's a little easier to start with. So what I'm doing here is I'm really focusing on keeping the tension on the biceps. If I would be going all the way down without focusing on the tension would simply be lost on the biceps. So what I'm doing, I'm going down until I feel the tension maximize, and after that it would be lost. So then you have to go back upwards again for the maximum contraction. That's a great way to really focus on the biceps without losing the tension and keeping full range of motion intact. And a great way to do that is keep your elbow a little bit forward and not really don't retract your shoulder blades and arch your back and put your chest forward while doing this exercise. That might be the original way everyone would explain it, but the better way to keep more tension on the biceps is put your elbows forward just a little bit to make sure that the tension is kept on the biceps. Because you can look at my biceps and the tension is there from the bottom to the top. And you can also see I'm holding the bar a little closer than shoulder width because I'm always trying to focus on that maximum peak contraction, and I'm getting it mostly if I have a closer grip than shoulder width. A lot of people use a lot more heavier weights during the barbell curl, but the biceps simply are small muscles, so don't overload the biceps, because if you do, the rest of your body will simply work. If you look closer, you can see my body rocking back and forth just a little bit to aid in the lift. Well, that's to make sure full range of motion is achieved, and I'm not using this momentum to do more weight, but I'm using this little bit of momentum to achieve curls with this amount of weight to actually overload the biceps that way. And don't force any reps out all the way, because then you will injure your biceps, because the bicep tendon near the forearm is one of the most sensitive tendons in your body, and it might take months for you to recover. I've had that before. And then the last bicep exercise of the day will be the concentration curls. Sometimes I'm doing them standing, but I like to do it seated as well, to really concentrate and focus on only that bicep without having to stabilize your body when you're standing. And what I'm doing also is I'm leaning my arm against my leg in such a way that my arm isn't straight down, but it's really angled upwards a little bit, and that way the tension is on the bicep all the way down. You can see it right there. When I'm going all the way down with the dumbbell, you can still see the tension present on the bicep, and full tension, full range of motion is what you need for bicep development. And also with the concentration curls, you don't want to go too heavy. There are of course people who can do 30 kilograms with it, but their form is simply off. With this exercise, you do not want to use momentum. You really want to focus on that maximum peak contraction. You can see the peak contraction hitting there because you can really see the split of the biceps starting to exist, starting to be carved into the bicep by having a full contraction, a full range of motion right there. And the angle of my upper arm really makes sure that the tension is never lost. And that is the big benefit of using the seated version compared to the standing version, because usually with the standing version, your arm is simply hanging down, and then you need to have some experience to be able to get that peak contraction there, because if you don't have the mind-muscle connection, it's going to be more difficult. So if you want to learn how to do the concentration curl, I would recommend doing the seated one first and then move on to the standing variation when you're good enough. Anyway guys, that was the workout of the day. I want to thank you for watching, and don't forget to stay golden.